Hi, everyone. This is Brittnee Bond, and welcome back to the podcast. Whew. Okay, so this episode is going to be super juicy because you're just going to follow the ride that has been Brittnee Bond's epic, crazy life in a positive way. Like, let's just say it's positive overall, but there has been a dramatic roller coasters back and forth. If you know me well, you know that this is very much part of my story. It's just like, what the fuck's happening? Even my close friends here on the island are like, at any given moment, Brittnee, we don't know what's happening with you. We don't know where the story is going to go. And I'm like, that when I look back on my life, that is what I want to have remembered, is that even I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And that's what's beautiful, because my higher self, my soul, always knows what's going on. And I'm just following like the intuitive guidance from the universe. And I always end up exactly where I'm meant to be, with the right people at the right time, all the things. But the thing I want to say to you at the beginning of this podcast is that, like, even when you have it all, this is something I've learned, especially recently, even when you have it all the things that you wanted, that you thought you wanted up until, like, you know, basically like these big dreams that you've like talked about a lot in your life, and you've, you know, visualized, and you've like done, you strived towards, right? You put all your energy into. And then when you get them, the thing that a lot of people don't talk about is that there is still this moment of overwhelm and I don't know what the fuck's going on, because what it actually is when you get the things that you really desire, this is actually your soul wanting, like the universe wanting to expand through you, right? And that expansion comes with discomfort. It comes with stepping into the unknown. I like to call it jumping off the bridge and hoping that something catches you, which is like, if you like, really literally someone's going to make a story about my life one day, and it's going to be like, and then we don't know what happens next. Neither does Brittnee. And we're all just like on the edge of our seats, because really, that has been the story of my life. And I love it. I am here for all of it, because it always ends up in the most epic places with the most beautiful people doing really cool shit, you know? So I'm here for all of that. But the thing is that when you step into that expansion, what ends up happening is, sorry, I'm like full on airing out my dress right now because it is very hot up in here. I've been spending a lot of time trying to figure out like where's the best podcast area. Shout out to Joe for helping me set up this one today. My dream in the villa is to have just a recording station where I can just sit down, everything's already set up, and I can just go. And this one is really beautiful and nice because I'm like looking at my pool and the jungle, but it's also really hot. I know a lot of you who are listening to this are in a very cold climate right now. I just want you to know it's really hot here, and I'm grateful for it. I'm going to jump in my pool right after this and soak it up, and also just being real. It's hot. It's really fucking hot, and I'm sweating already, and I just sat down. Okay, we're back. Okay, so expansion, the thing that people don't talk about a lot and that I want to talk about on this podcast is that when you do step into this higher vibration and it reflects in your 3D reality where you get the thing that you really want. For me, I'm talking specifically about this year, healing stuff with my family. I hadn't spoken to my family in like 10 years. I was like, did my family even love me? You know, blah, 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 blah. I went there, I saw them, I reconnected with my mom, healing. I understand very much that my family super, super does love me. They're also choosing to be in a religion where their religion is telling them it's not good to hang out with me because I'm not part of their religion. That's okay. Choices. We're all making choices. At the end of the day, my little inner girl just really wanted to know, does my family love me? So that was a huge expansion. Going to Burning Man. I'd always wanted to go to Burning Man. My inner child was so happy to play there. I met amazing people. The thing about Burning Man is if your soul is calling you to go and you're like, Brittnee, should I go to Burning Man? I always say, if your soul is calling you to go, there's a reason why you're meant to be there, and you will be there when you're meant to be there. Because for the last 10 years, I wanted to go, and I was like always in Thailand. And so I'm like, it doesn't logically make sense for me to fly from Thailand all the way to the US. Also, yeah, for many different reasons, but mostly I was just like, this is my home here. I'm cushioned here. I wasn't connected to my family. So it was like, for me going to the US almost sometimes feels like more of a foreign country than Thailand, which has been my base for almost 9 years. But that was really epic. I met a lot of amazing people. Lots of business collaborations have come from me going to Burning Man. And because it's like a lot of people who are like moving and shaking things in the world going there to play. And then getting this villa. So, I've lived in villas with friends in the past, and I've lived in villas with partners in the past. But this was like me being like, I choose for the universe to expand this through me. Like this villa is going to happen because of my energy, and the universe wants me to be here and create these amazing events here. And, whoever I'm meant to live with, I do have a housemate. He's amazing. He's my friend Joe. I've known him for 8 years. Our story of how we met, really magical, and how we reconnected on the island, also super magical. And he's very much a divine masculine. He helped me set up my podcast equipment here and has helped me in many different ways as a divine masculine, and just like a safe man in the timeline. Always wanting to make sure I'm safe and feeling protected. And do I have enough food? Do you want me to bring you a chai? Let me fix a battery on your key fob for your scooter, which has been dying for the last year, and I couldn't figure out why my battery was dying. I thought it was my scooter battery. Anyways, he's fixing lots of things. And for me, as I get more in my divine feminine, it talks about love languages. Like I was talking to some friends about it last night in a cuddle puddle, which I'll talk about in a second. But as I was talking to them, I was like, they were like, what's your love language, Brittnee? And I've always said like words of affirmation, physical touch. But right now, as I'm more like embodied and I'm more like, I get a lot of physical touch already through my community, my sex positive community. I'm like, wow, when a man just like shows up for you and like does things to make your life exponentially better, and so you can just like not have to think about it. That is like the biggest turn on for me these days. I'm like, wow, oh my God, thank you. Yeah, I could do it on my own, but like, wow, thank you for just showing up. That saves me so much more space where I can just feel, I can just like be in my body and just like feel everything and feel so yummy and share this energy with you of like appreciation and thank you. So acts of service. Where was I? I feel okay. Yeah, I'm on little tangents today. I didn't get that much sleep because of the cuddle puddle, which I'll talk about in a second. But your girl is filled up on love. Let's just say it that way. But when the universe is expanding things through you, a lot of times you're like stepping into the unknown, stepping off the cliff, whatever analogy, metaphor you want to use. And it feels super fucking uncomfortable. Even when you get the thing, because what happens is when you get the thing like that you want, for instance, this one was like, okay, I got this villa, I signed a 1-year contract. The landlord feels like, a family to me. He really cares. He's part of my community. He supports my sex positive events here, like blah, 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 all the things I was manifesting. Literally, when you write it down and you feel into it and you feel the feeling of already having it, this is why people call me the manifesting queen. Like all my friends are like, Brittnee, you're just like a fucking witch over there, like a sorcerer, like just like, psh, 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 I want this thing, I want that thing. And I'm like, but it feels so good and I'm so excited and I know that it exists and I'm holding that vibrational reality for me to receive it. And it feels so yummy and I'm so grateful for it. And then it's like, bam, it happens, right? But let's just be real. Since I signed the contract, I talked about this in my podcast yesterday. Since I signed the contract, I got deathly ill. Like, it was like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to move into this villa when I'm so sick? I didn't know what it was for like a whole month. I thought I was just going crazy because having dengue, what I had was like, it's like, it not only fucks with your body, it gives you like super bad fever and like body chills and like pain everywhere, but it just really fucks with your brain and it makes you really, 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 really depressed. And that's something that I'm just like not having because I've had major depression in my life in my early 20s where I had to be on antidepressants for like 5 years. And I just felt this like nothingness of life and I felt like everything was meaningless. And I will never kill myself in this timeline because I'm just here for it. I'm here for all of the expansion. I'm here for everything. But in my early 20s, I was like, what the fuck is the point of living? Like, I don't understand why humans exist. I don't understand why there's so much pain. And like, I just didn't have the energy to like be a human because my emotional reality was so low. My serotonin was so low. And with dengue, it felt like that. So on the surface, everyone in my soul family, all my friends, everyone's supporting me, celebrating me getting this villa, helping me move in, and I'm in between all of that, just crying my eyes out, laying in my bed, having no energy, and also just feeling nothing, feeling the listlessness. It's such a funny word, listlessness. It means like having no, like extreme fatigue emotionally and having no energy to do anything that you want in your life and just feeling like there's no purpose to anything. And I really believe that all illness is psychosomatic. And what that means is like there is a spiritual reason, or our body is talking to us and saying that like something's happening. And when I check in with myself, when I meditate, I can really check in and ask myself, like, how is this happening for me? I really believe everything in my life is happening for me for some reason, or that I can take a positive words. I can take something positive from it. I can always find a positive reason. I'm not saying it doesn't suck when you're going through it. I'm not disregarding the actual human experience. It's very important to feel the human experience, really feel it, but I don't sit in it. This is something also I was talking to my friends about yesterday. It was like, I'm here for all of it. I'm all Scorpio in my chart. Like, give me all your feelings. I'm here for all the feelings, crying, really understanding, going to the depths of the despair. And then I choose to ask myself, how is this happening for me? How am I going to benefit from this? And let's go. Like, let's keep going and make something beautiful from this. So when I asked myself, like, why is this happening for me, or how's this happening for me? When I got dengue, when I got really sick getting the villa, what came to me was that there was a lot of old vibrations and old negative beliefs that needed to be cleared out for me to have the vibrational space to really accept this new reality that I chose and that I was brave enough to allow myself to receive. Because everything is there for you to receive in your life, all the things that you desire. Most people are not brave enough, or they don't feel worthy and brave enough to go after it, to take the action to do it, because they think they'll fail, or they do not feel worthy enough of receiving it. So even if someone's like knocking on their door wanting to give them $1 million, like a lot of people like that win the lottery, and then they end up if you look statistically, people that win the lottery and they're not ready for the vibrational reality of it, a lot of them spend the money within a year. It's crazy, but it's because they don't feel worthy of accepting it. They don't have the vibrational space to hold it. So this is also why sometimes you're not given the things that you really want by your higher self or your soul, is because you haven't done the inner work in order to create the vibrational space. Everything happens on the inside first, and then it reflects in the 3D reality. So for me to get dengue and to be really sick, I had to really slow down and look at a lot of negative beliefs around my past relationships, around me and abundance, around, a really big one for me. This feels very, 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 very vulnerable to share. Just taking a moment. A really big one for me was allowing myself to receive this abundant life as a single person. Because I'm a fucking lover girl. I have been in relationships, deep partnerships. Since I was 18. I got married when I was 18. So from my first relationship, my first real relationship, which became my husband, it's been we do this together. It's been a we. For some people, this might be something they cringe at. Like they're like, oh, no, I don't want that. For me, I understand the beautiful side of deep partnerships. I understand how it's like, people could be dying around you. You could be going through the most deathly illness. You could be like, financially collapsing. And then your partner's like, I got your back. Like we're in this together. You're not alone. I understand how when you have someone who really has your back, you can literally do anything in the world, because when you believe in something together, it's like magic just happens, And a lot of times when I look back on my partnerships, my partner wasn't really the one, and this, like if we look at masculine, feminine dynamics, like my partner wasn't really the visionary. It was actually me. I was like, I believe that we can do this. We can have this money. We can, manifest all this money on crypto. We can do this. We can do that. And And it was like happening, it was happening through the masculine in my partner, but I was the one who was the visionary. So for me to be the visionary about this dream reality that I, know that I deserve and that I have this vibrational reality for, like I have the capacity to hold it. But then like to be like, oh, I'm just going to do it for me and Afro, there was some really big feelings of loneliness that came up for me, and just like, what's the point? If I don't have someone to share it with, what's the point? I feel like a lot of men maybe go through this when they actually hit financial success and they don't have a partnership. And like, maybe that's why like a lot of men strive to like build their kingdom. And then they like, after they build their kingdom and like, their stable financial reality, then they like welcome their queen in, because one, they have vibrational space to take care of her, provide for her, and show up for her emotionally, physically, financially. And also they're like, yeah, what's the point of any of this if I'm not going to share it with someone? And that's kind of how I felt when I moved in. I like, was walking around. The whole upstairs is like, basically it's a whole other apartment. That's my master bedroom. And like this house has had parties in the past with my friend who owns it with over 200 people. Like that's how big this house is. And so it's huge. It's fucking huge. And I was like, what's the point of this? So anyways, I really had to sit with that. And I had to really tell myself, like, Brittnee, you deserve this. Like, you deserve this as a single person. And you're going to fill it with so much community. It's what you always have done. You're going to feel, it's not going to be an empty house. It's going to be like constantly full of friends and soul family and the community and parties and events and connection and healing and all the things, But there was that moment after I moved in when I was still very sick and I couldn't get out of bed for like a whole week, and it was raining here because it was still rainy season, that I was like, what the fuck did I do? And then so I worked through that before I go to the next thing. I worked through that. I really faced it. I looked at it. I'm all Scorpio, Phoenix rising up in here. And what I ended up doing was sharing with my soul family, like, hey, this is what I'm going through, and I was like, I'm having a really rough time, and it just doesn't really make sense because my external, I almost feel bad sharing about this because my external reality is like, I'm the queen of, Koh Phangan in the most epic villa right in the middle of Sri Tanu. Like I can see the sea from here, and I have my infinity pool overlooking a jungle, and like, I'm like 5 minutes from everything I love. And this is what I've always wanted. And like, why do I feel like shit right now? And like, people don't talk about this. The women that I coach when I do one-on-one sessions, I think there's also, especially with women, there's this thing about like, we have to work through so much programming in order for us to receive financial abundance and like 3D success, like, like external success, like outside of just having a family and being a wife and a mother and da-da-da. And then on top of that, there isn't that many women who, how to put this? There's like shame around women being successful financially. And then on top of that, there isn't that many women who have really gone that far. And so when they find each other, or you're in a network of women who are like this, it's like, oh my God, yeah, are you going through the same thing too? And I'm so grateful that I have this in my network. I have very successful women who have gone through similar things, are on different stages of their life, but they like understand where I'm coming from, and they're not gonna like be like, I can't believe you're complaining about this. They're like, no, I get you. And like, this is what I did, and like, it's okay. And and this is like some negative beliefs, and it's all good, So that was really beautiful, and like a way for me to connect with my community, my soul family specifically, even more. But this is also why I was like not on social media for a while, because I was really like fucking going through like a dark night of the soul in a way that I never expected. Like it makes sense when you're like, I'm sick, or this bad thing happened, I got in a scooter accident, or my, like someone passed away, or like, I've gone through a lot of these things on the island. But to be like, I got the villa I've always manifested, I saw my vision for 3 years, and now I'm sad and I feel lonely and I feel like, what's the point of any of this? So what did I do? How did I shift it? So like I sat in it, I shared. So when I shared with people that I have earned the right to hear my story and that I trust and that I feel like are on my level and like can really hold that vibrational reality. And then I realized that I needed to not only talk to these people on the phone, I needed to like be in a space where I was like touching my soul family, and specifically my soul family who are going like in the same 3D reality of me, like in the same spiritual growth, matching with 3D reality. Words like their life is like mine, and we're going through the same things together, and da da da. So this leads me to what do I talk about? I'm so excited to talk about this stuff. I'm like, what order do I put this in? Okay, so something else that I haven't shared is that like right now, because I have stepped into this vibrational reality of like abundance and wealth and just like, I fucking deserve this. I'm the queen and I own it, and I don't need to be with a partner to do this. I create my own financial wealth, you know, abundance, community, all the things. When you step into that space and you really own it and you are that vibration, the universe is like, oh, this is a fun vessel for us to put more energy into. Like our bodies are vessels, right? And like source energy, the universe wants to play the game of life through us. So when you're really allowing yourself to follow your intuition and follow your soul's path, the universe gives you more energy. It gives you more opportunities for more expansion, because the universe wants to grow. It wants to expand. And so when I moved into the villa, not only was I super tired and like fatigued from being really sick, and also facing a lot of depression from the specific illness, and also just feeling lonely and like just like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I also had a moment where I had some of the most financially abundant business opportunities coming my way, and I couldn't get out of bed. So that's the fucking biggest irony of life. And when I coach women on this is something I've heard a lot in the past. And I did this when I was in corporate, and when I was a business consultant after I left corporate. I had this like overwhelm moment matched with, I have the most amount of opportunities and work, but it was in an industry that I didn't want to be in. So for me, it just felt like I want all of this to go away, and I'm feeling burnt out. Right now, I'm in a moment where I'm fully in my authenticity. I'm following my soul's path, and every project that's coming my way, every business opportunity that's coming my way is fully in alignment with what I already want to do. I've always manifested, I want to work on things that are making impact in the world, specifically around sexuality and empowering women and community, like building community, New Earth community. And I want to do it with people that are activating and inspiring for me and my soul family. And that's what's happening. So leading me back to the other part I was just about to share is that, you know, it's like raining nonstop here on the island when I was in this moment, like a couple weeks ago, of just really sad and fatigued and depressed. And and it was about to be a fucking monsoon here, like really, really, really bad monsoon, like where like people ended up like having to take like their kayaks into the street in order to get to the store, or like they were like swimming through the streets because everything was shut down, and you couldn't, like the water was coming like if you're sitting on a scooter, the water was like coming up to your chest. Like it was dangerous to drive your scooter because the water was going to fuck the motor up. So people were just really stuck. And and I knew this was coming. I already had a month before bought my flights to go to Chiang Mai, which is in the north of Thailand, because my godparents were visiting. They bought a condo up there in order to be closer to me, and just like they want to move their life more towards Asia. So they're going to be there like 3 months a year, which I'm super excited for. And also, my friend Daria, who's my business partner, she's the one I was saying that's like in the very similar vibrational reality when it comes to being a very successful businesswoman. She has like a 6-bedroom house with like a daughter, a husband, a maid, a cook, a nanny, a cleaner, a gardener, a driver. Like she's just got, like has kids in the way that I would have children, you know, like she's there for her daughter all the time, but she also is a full-time businesswoman, and her husband also works full-time, and they work from home. So they're around their daughter all the time, but they have a lot of support. And this is how I would choose to have kids. And so I had booked my flights up there, and because I was in this like super big mind fuck, and also my body was like really fatigued, I was like, I don't think I should go. Like, I don't think, and like, again, just think like the monsoon is coming like in a couple days. And I'm just still like, I don't think I should go. Like at one point I was sitting talking to Joe in the kitchen behind me, and I ended up just like laying on the floor, like right here, because another part of dengue aftermath is you get really nauseous. Like, and I was taking like papaya leaf. It's like the leaves from the papaya, like a papaya is a fruit, you know, and the leaves, if you ever have dengue, you juice the leaves, which is just like a normal green leaf, and it tastes terrible. It tastes so bad, but you juice it and you drink it, and it's because dengue thins your blood. This is why a lot of people have to be hospitalized, because their blood ends up low blood pellets kind of thing. And so the papaya leaf juice raises your blood pellets. So it's like one of the only things you can really take for dengue that will help with it. And so I was drinking this and it was making me extra nauseous. And it's like the morning I'm supposed to fly out originally. I had to pause for a minute because Afro was barking because the maids came. So like it's the morning of my original flight. Like I was going to fly out that morning. And the monsoon was coming in a couple days. And I was talking to my roommate, Joe, or my housemate, Joe, and I had taken the papaya leaf juice and I was so nauseous that I had to like lay on the carpet. I was like, how am I supposed to fly today and like take a boat and then get on a plane and then get in a taxi and then stay with my friend in her house with her daughter and like all these house people. And I was like, I don't think I can handle this, you know? And so I just told everyone, I was like, oh, and I messaged like Daria and my godparents and they were all sick. And I was like, my immune system is already so bad. Like, how am I supposed to go deal with them and they're sick, you know? So I just canceled my flight. I was like, okay, I'm not doing this. I can't handle this. And it was just really like, and then I just felt even worse. I was like, I just couldn't make a decision, which is super unusual for me. Like usually I can like sit there and analyze everything, feel into my body, but from an analytical perspective, really understand what I meant to do and like follow my intuition. And when I had dengue, I was just like, I felt so emotional and so low and just so out of control. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Anyway, so I went to bed. And the next morning I woke up and I had all these dreams about like, Brittnee, you are literally meant to go to Chiang Mai. Like, what are you doing? Like, the universe is trying to expand through you. Why are you not going? And I felt like once I made this, so I woke up, I was supposed to leave on Wednesday. I woke up Thursday morning and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I need to go. And I just like I booked a new flight. I arranged for someone to watch Afro and stay in my house. I booked the taxi. I booked everything. And I checked in with my friend. Well, first I checked in with Daria and I was like, are you sure? And she's like, I also feel amazingly a lot better today. I think I was just stressed about work and I ended up like moving some, like some stuff off my plate. And I think it was psychosomatic and I just like was really stressed and I really want you to come. So this is where the story just gets really dramatic because at this point, the monsoon is hitting the island, right? So I'm like praying to whatever is holy, like, please wait until I get to Chiang Mai because I could just feel it was going to be one of these ones where like the whole island was going to be flooded and like shut down. And then what happens is they stop the boats because you have to take a boat from Koh Phangan to Koh Samui and then you fly out of Koh Samui. And the waves during this time of year get really hectic where it's like dangerous to take a boat. Like they shut down the whole island, like from like the outside. So it was like raining it was like the clouds were coming. It was like dark and gray and I'm like packing and I'm like, I got this. And the girl who's going to stay in my room while I'm gone, she comes and I'm introducing her to Joe and then like they're talking. I was like, I have to go like, oh, and I had a coaching client from like 2:30 to 3:30 and my boat took off like boats in the main city of Taoxala 20 minutes away. And my client call ended at 3:30 and I came downstairs and they're all talking, like wanting to catch up and wanting to talk to me about stuff at the house. And I was like, I'm sorry, I have to go right now because I'm about to miss my boat. And I have to make this boat in order to make my flight in order to like get there tonight. And I already had booked everything. And I already booked my boat ticket. And so I get on my scooter and immediately as I start driving, the monsoon hits and it's just like pouring down rain and just like epic, like to the point where the rain is coming sideways so hard. It feels like hail and it like hurts my face as it's going. Thankfully I have like safety goggles I wear and I put on my raincoat. But for some reason, I forgot to, like I had my carry-on like backpack and I forgot to cover up my raincoat with my, like basically it's big enough where I can like cover my bag. But I was in such a rush to make it to the boat that I didn't even think of it. And so I drove down there and I get to the pier where they had my ticket and the lady's like knows me. And so she's like, Brittnee, hurry, you have to run. The boat's about to take off. And so I grab the ticket from her. I'm, thank you, Joyce. And I just start running down the pier and I'm like, I'll pay you when I get on the boat. And she was like, yeah, I got you. Like, it's fine. I know you got me. And like run all the way down there and I get on the boat and it's exactly 4 p.m. and they close the doors. And I was like soaking wet and I used vegan hair dye. So like the red is just like pouring down because I just dyed my hair and everything is wet. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm just going to like, I have all these clean clothes in my bag, open my bag. The rain had soaked through my entire backpack. Every single thing was wet except for my pajamas, which was like these really funny, like green, cozy pants and like this oversized black t-shirt. And I didn't have it like my sweaters, my jackets, because like I get really cold easily. I have like, you know, low body mass or whatever. And so I was like, fuck, when I get in the airplane and I've just been sick and it's going to be cold. And I was just like, trust the universe. I'm meant to be like, because when I was driving down to the pier, I wasn't freaking out. I stayed really in my center energetically. And I just kept saying to the universe, I was like, if I am meant to get on this boat right now, I will get on the boat. If I'm not meant to get on the boat, I'm not going to get on the boat. So whatever needs to happen. So when I got on the boat and everything was wet, I was like, if I meant to get to Chiang Mai and healthy, because I was worried about like getting cold and being wet, like my hair was still wet and just being cold and then getting more sick, you know? And I was like, if I'm meant to get to Chiang Mai healthy and like whatever, it's going to happen. And what ended up happening was every single time, like when I got to the airport, I got to the airport lounge and I was like, can I have a blanket? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then when I got on the plane, I was like, can I have a blanket? And they were like, yeah, here's two. And so I had the whole way. I was like, you know, the universe showed up for me. I was very warm. And then when I got to Chiang Mai, it was like, I was getting all these reports from the island with all my friends and they're just like, you left just in time. They just shut down all the boats. Like there's no way to get off the island now. And like, like you can't even drive. Like people were like running out of water in their houses. Thankfully we have like rainwater filtration here. So, and Joe is like super divine masculine. So he'd like stocked up the whole house of food and they ended up having friends over and like cuddling the whole 4 days that it was happening. So, and in Chiang Mai, wow, such a big expansion for me. And this is what was meant to happen was like, I was there with Daria. She's my main business partner and also one of my best friends. Like I've known her for 8 years and we have such a strong, like she's a Cancer. I'm a Scorpio. We have such a strong spiritual, emotional connection. And also we just fucking love making business stuff together. So she pulled me in on like all of her business deals that she's currently working on. I pulled her in on all of my business deals that I just got offered. And we're like merging our teams right now, which is so fun. And we made a commitment in 2025, we are going to see each other in person once a month. So either I go up there or she comes down here or we meet somewhere else. And it was just, I just felt so supported and so like, oh, I'm not crazy. And it's just like, it's normal to have all these feelings when you expand. And like just talking to someone who's like on my level is so important. And it reminded me of like a couple years ago, I made a millionaire mastermind when I was really stepping in my expansion financially. Cause I was like, I have so many friends on the island that are millionaires. And I was like, I want to be around people and like hear what they talk about business wise and just be in the vibration. And so I wasn't a millionaire at the time, but I was like, I'm here for it. Let's go, you know? And they like love me. And so they were all like, yeah, like organized, and they don't know each other. And I know everyone. That's the thing is like the power of networking and the power of community. It's like, I knew all these people and I connected all of them and now they're all like super good friends. But being in that community of like people who were very successful, very financially abundant, you know, like entrepreneurs, and that's just how my brain works. And so it was just like really inspiring, activating, and I felt that energy with Daria. And we just felt like we would just stay up like for half the night talking about business deals, talking about spiritual things, talking about our emotions, talking about relationships, and it was just so nourishing on so many levels. And when I got back here, I got back on Wednesday last week, and then I hosted the play party Saturday, and it was so epic. We had like over 65 people and just like so juicy, so dropped in. And it was a lot of it too was because I was fueling this energy that I had just soaked up in Chiang Mai and also soaked up in my house. But it was like all this combination of feeling super supported also by my soul family and all the women who host the party with me, and just really grateful. And what I wanted to say, some connecting dots here. There's something that wants to come through. Hold on, give me a second. Let me drink some water. I think what I want to say is that it's really important to have your community around you, like when you expand, and make sure you have that support, whether it's like a coach or an accountability group or a mastermind or just like friends who are also in the same vibration of building things and being inspired and being positive about the world, and that there's a lot of opportunity out there, and there's so much exciting things and so much positive impact that we can make in the world, and also make a lot of money doing it. And it's really beautiful. So for me, I'm like really feeling that right now, and I'm super grateful for it. And this is what's funny is, so like, I'll just tell you about what happened yesterday. So yesterday morning, I woke up and I thought I had announced I was going to host a New Year's Eve party here in the villa, right? But I just had, like, this is also what I want to say is, like, especially when you're stepping into your expansion, you really have to follow your intuition and keep receiving the downloads and keep honoring receiving the downloads. And a lot of other people are going to think you're crazy. And that's how you are on the cutting edge. Because if you're following the status quo, you're not on the cutting edge. You're following the status quo, and you're only going to get whatever's offered by the person in front of you. If you're out there like leading the collective and being the crazy person, you're going to be the one who's super successful in a couple years, or the one who has like created something magical and new in this reality that no one else could fathom because they were following the status quo of like the linear timeline. But when you start stepping into quantum reality, where you're in source energy and you realize that everything is possible, there's like music happening. Like where I'm at in my villa, it's like overlooking a lot of Sritanu, and so it's also kind of an echo chamber. So I don't know if you can hear this music, but there's someone who's just playing like really epic loud music. It's funny. Background music. But yeah, when you're in this like quantum reality of like everything is possible, I'm fully supported, I have all the resources I need, and everyone has my back, you start being able to jump the linear timeline. This is why I call it jumping timelines. And it's literally like, yes, 1 + 1, if I were going to do this thing, and then I would get this money, and then this would happen, and I would do that. And like for me, I quantum jump my timelines, where I'm like, yeah, that was like basically me in another lifetime last year. And now I'm over here and I'm doing something completely different, completely new and more abundant. And like, let's go, so like, that's why even like different versions of my life, I feel like I actually lived a different life in this lifetime. Like it was an actual different incarnation of me. But it's because I was jumping timelines, like quantum reality, where most people would have to play out this one lifetime all the way through till they died and then reincarnate and start over. And I don't feel like I need to do that. So I just don't do that. I just jump from another life to another life. If you're following, you get it, you understand. And I invite you to do the same. If you're not following, it's okay. You'll get it in one lifetime or another. So what I wanted to say was, yesterday morning I woke up and I thought, I'm going to make, I already had planned, I'm going to make this New Year's Eve party. It's going to be super epic and da-da-da-da. But it's like, I didn't want to make a play party for New Year's Eve because I wanted to create a reality where people who had, like there's a lot of my friends who have come to my play parties in the past and they're just in a different life path. Like they're very monogamous, so they have kids where they don't want to come, whatever. And they still want to come hang out with me and come to my events. So I was like, okay, I'll make a New Year's Eve party and like have all my friends plus my outer community come. But I kept having this resistance to it. Like one, like there's a lot of other events on the island too. I just like didn't feel excited about it. And 3, like people kept thinking it was a play party because like they know me for play parties here. And so I'm like, I felt like I was going against my marketing for the play party, and like just that people finally understand what I'm doing. And all of my play parties are filling up very quickly, and people were trying to book the New Year's Eve party as if it's a play party. And I was like, no, it's not. And then I was just getting frustrated trying to explain what it was. And then I was like, I don't feel like I'm meant to do this. So then I talked to a friend of mine, talked to 2 of my soul family, and they were just like, yeah, just don't do it. Like, what the fuck? If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do it. But then like, what am I going to do for New Year's? Well, Daria just went to Bali to like hang out with some super famous influencers there, and like really big people in business and the industry, that some of the industries that I'm working in right now. And she rented a super epic villa, and she was like, babe, I have an extra room. I'm hanging out with these people. I've been wanting to introduce you to them anyways. Just come. And I was like, so like yesterday morning I woke up and I was like thinking I'm still going to do a New Year's Eve party. And then by the end of yesterday, so I let myself feel into it for a full day. And I talked to some of my mentors and some of my soul family, and I was like, what do you guys think? And I was like running it by people, and just like, for me, when I like run it by people, I still like, even if they say something that I'm like, no, I actually don't agree with that, it's still nice to get that feedback, because then it helps me confirm what I actually want, because I'm a generator on the human design, so I like to respond to things. So like just by talking about it, having them give me feedback and questions, it really helps me work it out, especially with people that I trust, you know? So by the end of yesterday, I had met up with a very good friend of mine who was just newly back in town. And I'm so grateful for him to come back. And like, we have been hanging out. Like, he was part of my original crew here on the island when I first made the play parties. His name's Sasha. And we like explored romantic stuff. And then we just decided we wanted to be friends. Mostly because back then he was in like the fuckboy energy and was just wanting to fuck everything. And I'm a queen. I don't deal with that. I don't deal with fuckboy energy. So I was like, yeah, you need to grow up a little bit. Let's just be friends. And he also said to me, like, yeah, I'm so happy we didn't sleep together, because we almost did a couple times. And he was like, out of all of the women I was connecting with back then, you were the only one I didn't sleep with. And I actually like, I'm really happy I like protected you from me, basically, because I was in an energy that I don't feel like was honoring who you deserve to be with. And I was like, yeah, I also recognize that. And I'm really happy I didn't. Like, I think we both realized it and then just were like, let's be friends. But he's very beautiful and a beautiful soul inside and out. And so he came yesterday, and him and my girlfriends, we all met at Zen Beach, and like the DJ was actually really good. And it was like someone from the community. And so we were all vibing and having a good time. And then him and I got food takeaway. We came back to the house, and some other friends came over, and we ended up just like being in a cuddle puddle until like 2 a.m. And it was so nourishing for my soul. And it was just so like, this is kind of how it's been here at the villa. It's just like my soul family just coming through, and like kind of what I've always done. But just now we're all like jumping in the pool naked and like cuddling on the day beds and just looking at the stars and talking about life. And so in the middle of all of this, I talked to Daria one more time. I was like, just, you know, status check, like vibe check. Should I come? Because I think I want to come. And she was like, yes, come. Like, just come. I'm getting like downloads, spiritual downloads, that you need to be here. You need to meet these people, da, da, da. And so while everyone's cuddling and stuff, I'm like booking my flight. And then like, for some reason, the website was all in Thai. I don't know how it's like I don't know what was happening, but I was also like, okay. And then I called my friend in Chiang Mai, Fuji, and I was like, Fuji, can you help me translate? And like, it was just cute. Like, it felt like such a community experience, and everyone was like, we're getting you to Bali, Brittnee. Like, we support you emotionally and energetically, while they're all like cuddling and like all this stuff. And it's cute. So then I booked my flight, and I was like, now I'm fucking going to Bali next week. I haven't been to Bali since like before COVID. I lived there for a while. I dated a guy who was half Indonesian. And so I lived there with him for a couple seasons. And I don't have like a strong feel, like I want to say this in the positive. I don't have a strong positive feeling about Bali. I loved Bali before it exploded. And now every time I hear about Bali, it's like traffic. But I feel that there is a spiritual reason for me to go. And so instead of hosting a New Year's Eve party on December 31st, I'm flying to Bali for a week, which I love. And I just like, this is where I'm just like, what is my life? Like yesterday morning, even I was just like crying. I was just like feeling like really like, I just been going in and out of this, like going through it, you know, this expansion of like, I have it all, but what am I doing? And like, what's next? And I just keep trusting, and I just keep following my intuition, and like leaning on my soul family, and like really allowing myself to receive this nourishment and support from my tribe. And then the next step just comes, and it's like even more epic than I could have ever imagined. Like, yeah, it's nice to host a New Year's Eve party here on the island, but I've done them before. And so for me, it wasn't like that much growth. Whereas like going to Bali, especially because I have kind of a energetic discomfort about Bali itself, which I'll talk about in another podcast. I think it'll be fun to talk about in a podcast I make in Bali about like how I felt about Bali before, and then how I feel now, like after I get there, you know. And then to feel also like, yeah, okay, even though I have this strong discomfort, like the universe also is like, this is where the growth is. This is where the expansion is. And also you need to meet these people. And like, there's other people there friends that I haven't seen in like years, and I'm excited to catch up with, that I used to do business with. There's like old lovers that are there right now. They're like, come stay in my villa. And I'm just like, okay, I have lots of new options to do for the new year. And like, what an epic way to like start my new year off, you know, with this adventure. I love adventure. So like for me, adventures like activate me. So even after everyone went home last night and we went to bed, I was in my bed and I was just like feeling like this life force energy like going through me. And it was like the universe was just so excited to expand through me. And it was giving me so much energy that I couldn't even sleep. And the night before, I had gone to bed at like 9:30 and slept until like 8 a.m. And I still felt tired all day yesterday. Like even the podcast I made yesterday, I felt like I look back on it today when I was editing and I was like, I look so tired. Like what was I doing? What energy was I in? I just slept for 11 hours. And today I like probably got like 5 hours of sleep, which if you know me, it's a very little amount. Usually I sleep 8 to 10. Your girl loves to sleep. I love to sleep. And I feel on fire. I'm about to I just had a business meeting before this. I'm making this podcast. I'm going to go to the gym with Sasha. And then I have some coaching calls. And then like tonight we're going to go out partying. And it's just like, life is good. Life is real good. And it feels so nice to make podcasts again. Like there's a lot of stuff brewing with what I'm excited to offer online for all of you and impact I want to give and support for my community. And also like, this is like where the home girl is at. Like this is me and my authentic vibration, raw and real, sharing with you what's up. And I choose to always have this here. Like no matter how famous I get in the world, no matter how successful I get, I choose to always give it to you real and really share with you my real downloads of like where I'm at in the moment. Even if I'm like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. Like, can someone help me? And that's what's fun, is that we're in it together and you're along for the journey with me and the ride. And now I really need to jump in the pool because it is so hot and I have completely melted through on the underside of this dress. Like if I were to show you my boobs right now, it would just be pools of sweat, like not in a sexy way and like you need to go like jump in the shower way. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to jump in my pool. And I hope you have an amazing day. And if you like this podcast, please like it. Please give me some love in the comments. Come on, people. Like also, you know, when you're in dengue fog and people are like hating it, like I know my girlfriend was like, girl, if you got haters, it means you're doing something right because you're like triggering the fuck out of people. And that's a good thing. And I'm like, okay. But like when you're in dengue fog and you feel like depressed and like people are like hating on you online, you're just like, why would you do that? I'm just trying to like make positive things in the world. So if you like this podcast and you're part of my homegirl crew and you're like following me on my journey, please give me some love in the comments. Please share this podcast. You know, like support your girl. Like this is how we give back. This is how we keep the positive energy going. Okay, I love you. Have a good words. Have a beautiful day. Bye.